So, folks, we're doing a part two of this episode for a very simple reason. I recorded the previous one on Friday morning. It is now Sunday, and the world keeps changing underneath our feet. But the enemies list deserves another entry this time. This entry is broader than the normal. You guys are used to me saying, oh, Tucker Carlson, you're an asshole, or, JD Vance, you're the enemy. This is a bigger one, and I'll probably get in trouble for it and probably not get on TV for it, but here we go. If you're a media company right now in this country, Paramount, CBS, any media company, any news outlet, any online outlet, any broadcaster cable network, and you made a deal with Donald Trump in the last year, you fed this monster. You've given this monster heat and energy and fuel. And now that we're in a stage where the monster's completely out of control, and Brendan Carr, his Federal Communications Commission chairman, is completely out of control, we're about to enter an era where Donald Trump's administration attempts to put federal monitors, e.g. censors, into media outlets. I don't think you understand what that compromises that you guys made in the last year mean. Whether it's Jeff Bezos backing the Washington Post off of a Harris endorsement, or pulling the plug on stories and gutting the newsroom, whether it's, frankly, the New York Times continuing to both sides, an awful lot of these stories. The Times is incredibly important, vital in the country, but there's an awful lot of Trump, burns down orphanage, Republicans blame Democrats. It just doesn't have, I've found for the last couple of years, it just lacks the incision to call it what it is. A lot of good enterprise reporting there, not criticizing that, but there is a certain editorial like blahness sometimes. But they're talking actively now about having people from the government controlling what media outlets say and do and cover. This is not just a test run. This is not just Brendan Carr getting his yips out. This is not just Donald Trump being Donald Trump. There's a reason that they're fearful of this right now, and there's a reason they want to do this right now. You'll be surprised to learn, I don't know if any of you have heard this, that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. It is the single largest cover-up story in the history of American politics and government. Hundreds of thousands of pages of documents, tens of thousands of hours of video, tens of thousands of photographs. All the media companies that have made all these compromises and pulled all these punches and said, oh, we're not going to offend the president because he might hurt our merger. He might regulate us. He might go after us. He might bring the DOJ in after us. Yes, he's going to do all those things. He's going to do all those things because if you are doing your jobs, you will be covering 24/7 the greatest political scandal in American history. The President of the United States has ordered the Department of Justice to pardon the woman who ran the largest child trafficking pedophile ring in recent memory, or perhaps any memory. This is a story of stories. This is a pyramid of Pulitzer Prizes. This is the big kahuna. This is the thing. This is your Watergate. And there's never been another Watergate since Watergate. We had the little mini scandal, Iran-Contra, blah, blah, blah. This is the big one. And for those of you who did make these compromises with Trump and by the way, I recognize a lot of these compromises were made by management, not by editors, and certainly not by journalists. Because I've said a million times, I love journalism and journalists. I'm an opinion writer, but I understand the process and the importance of it. It's the only thing, it's the only job that founders in the Constitution set out particularly and said, this gets constitutional protections. The only job, the only one, the press. Okay. But now you guys have a responsibility to overcome the inertia and the fear. This story is not slowing down. There is a cover-up happening inside Trump's world. Do not use the excuse in your moment when you're thinking about covering this. Oh, well, they're hermetic. They don't leak. Yeah, they do. They're leaking like sieves. They're leaking like the fucking Titanic an hour after the iceberg. This thing is going to be the real test for American journalism. It is going to be a fundamental test for American journalism. It is going to be something where the people of this country will either find out about this through you, or we will sink into a world of competing bullshit social media silos where no one knows the truth about anything. So for the companies who have compromised, I'm looking at you, Paramount. I hope you're happy because you've eaten the poison pill. You just don't know it yet. The problem for Paramount and Skydance is that these people, they're extortionists. And the trick about being an extortionist is that they don't stop extorting you once you pay them. They don't stop. He will continue. He will go back. Now they're talking about, oh, we want all these PSAs. We want $200 million of this. We want this and that. All these compromises. And you're going to have Brendan Carr of the FCC jumping in with these federal monitors. What the fuck? I mean, seriously, I've been trying to curse less on the podcast, but what the actual fuck? These people are preparing something that is meant to cover up the cover up. They are going to try a big intimidation play against the media in this country because of the Jeffrey Epstein files. The cover up that's going on runs from the Oval Office down to the lowest ranking member of Congress in the Republican Party. It runs from Rupert Murdoch all the way down to the lowest dipshit poster on Fox Social. It runs from Steve Bannon all the way down to internet trolls sitting in a stinking basement reeking of beats and despair in Moscow. This cover-up is the opportunity for the American media to show its worth and its value and its strength and its courage and its acceptance of the role the Constitution offers it. The founders understood press would be contentious. They understood, and by the way, when the founders were writing the Constitution and when they were writing the Federalist and Anti-Federalist papers, there were dozens and dozens of local newspapers, just in Philadelphia, just in New York, just in Boston. They were partisan, they were loud, some were accurate, some were just, propaganda at the time. They didn't call it propaganda then, but advocacy, let's put it. All of the stuff, guys. They knew we would have a contentious press. And right now the media is, oh, I'm not going to be on the plane. Yeah, no, you're not. I'm not going to be in the White House briefing room. No, you're not. You don't have to cover lies like they're the truth. You don't have to tell both sides of the lie. I think this moment is a huge test. I'm not putting the media on the enemies list per se, but I'm putting anybody in the media in the editorial or management side who wants to pull the punch now, definitely on the enemies list. America has lost faith in the press for a lot of reasons. It is insular, sometimes a little too up its own ass. It is smug, but it is also vital. We don't have a republic without a press. We don't. We don't have a republic without an independent media in this country. There are a lot of independent journalists now on Substack and elsewhere doing amazing, amazing work, both in terms of reporting and analysis and opinion. That's me. The idea should be very clear in your minds. Trump is going to go after the media now. They're going to try to go after the media right now so that they get to suppress the coverage of the cover-up. Jeffrey Epstein's the gift that keeps on giving, folks. If the media does not understand this, I can't help them any further. You got to understand. They're leaking like a sieve. I'm getting freaking leaks from the freaking White House at this point. Come on, people. This thing is falling apart, and pursuing it now with diligence and vigor and courage is what the media needs and must do. There is no world where Donald Trump should get away with ordering the release from federal prison of a woman who trafficked and sexually abused and gaslit and brainwashed hundreds of young girls and women for rape. There's no world where that should happen. This isn't process. This isn't, oh, is Todd Blanche a good source or not? Oh, is Pam Bondi going to talk to me again? This is justice now. And the story that's there of this cover-up comes down to one last big point. I just want you to keep this in your heads when you're writing this. He's so desperate to cover this up that he's going to pardon a pedophile, a woman who went to prison for 20 years for horrific crimes that led to the rape of underage girls. And then my phone flipped over, and that was very exciting. Didn't really have the same impact there as I had hoped for that close, but here we are. All right, folks, thanks for listening. We'll see you again next time.